Alex Eala begins another chapter in Philippine tennis history tonight as the Filipina star opens her 2026 Wimbledon campaign against a familiar opponent, Mexico's Renata Zarazua. Now, this is more than just a first-round match. It's a rematch nearly 2 years in the making. Back in 2024, Zarazua rallied from a set down to defeat Eala in the quarterfinals of the W100 Carry Tennis Classic, handing the young Filipina one of her toughest.
Imagine purchasing a Wimbledon ticket and discovering that your biggest rival isn't another tennis enthusiast, but rather a whole country that seems to have woken up and made the same travel arrangements. That's precisely what happened when a 21-year-old with a tennis racket managed to cause airport traffic, frighten ticket buyers, and leave Wimbledon organizers wondering if the entrance court had suddenly become much too small. Alex Eala turned the renowned tournament into an unofficial Filipino family reunion.
You're meeting so many players, like Belinda, getting to practice with her. You've got the little, cool new folks club with you and Evilise and Alex Eala, and I saw Paula Badosa taking a selfie with you the other day. Is the clique expanding? Are you adding people to the cool kids group?
Listen, everyone's welcome. This is not a clique. We're not drama. So no, everyone's who's sweet and wants to have a good time. Everyone's welcome, and I don't know. We're just. It's not too serious, honestly. Obviously, we're all competing on the court, but we want to have friends. We want to do stuff off the court. It's not like we know people.
Imagine purchasing a Wimbledon ticket and discovering that your biggest rival isn't another tennis enthusiast, but rather a whole country that seems to have woken up and made the same travel arrangements. That's precisely what happened when a 21-year-old with a tennis racket managed to cause airport traffic, frighten ticket buyers, and leave Wimbledon organizers wondering if the entrance court had suddenly become much too small. Alex Eala turned the renowned tournament into an unofficial Filipino family reunion.
Eala gonna get things started here in round number 1 on Tuesday. So Eala, as you guys know, home country of the Philippines, always behind her, has a big backing, a big following, so much support, and great to see from her because I'll tell you what, she's definitely earned it with the body of work that we've seen out of her the last few years. Talk about a nice up-and-coming talent here within the sport. Does she have the big power game? No, but she moves well. She never says die at any point. She tracks down every ball, extends rallies left and right. I mean, she is just very talented within that return game to extend rallies. And I'll be honest, she actually surprised me here with the...
Another tournament draw is announced. A regular rankings update shows on a phone, or a relatively unknown player enters a court that seems much too small for the attention they're going to garner.
Also, initial reaction is Alex Eala has got to be you got to be happy with that first round because for Alex Eala, think about some of these non-seeds that she could have played that I think would have been more difficult. I would say Kazatkina, as someone who has done well on grass in the past, would have been more difficult. Bianca Andreescu, a former Grand Slam winner and has already played 3 matches on grass in qualies this week, coming through, I would say.
Then, almost without warning, thousands of people start heading in the same direction as if they had all received an invitation that was never sent. That's precisely how Alex Eala's incredible ascent became more than just a motivational tennis tale. Because it was more than just a talented young player moving up the rankings by the time Wimbledon arrived in the summer of 2026.
Or Zarazua, if that came on the clay, then I think we can pretty much dismiss it. And also if it came a couple of years ago or more, likely. It came on hard court, but it was 2 years ago, and it was in 3 sets. So the 1-0 head-to-head from that winning carry that the Mexican had, yeah. Maybe also Zarazua will get distracted by the World Cup ahead of this particular encounter, where Mexico, of course, are flying high.
Then, almost without warning, thousands of people start heading in the same direction as if they had all received an invitation that was never sent. That's precisely how Alex Eala's incredible ascent became more than just a motivational tennis tale. Because it was more than just a talented young player moving up the rankings by the time Wimbledon arrived in the summer of 2026.
Straight off the press, we now know exactly which court Alex is going to play on Tuesday. So Tuesday the 30th of June, that's a couple of days' time, we will have camped overnight for tickets and we will be in and we will be courtside with our camera facing the play, and Dan will be there doing some commentary, whatever commentary he can possibly do in terms of not being thrown out.
All of a sudden, The topic of debate within the sport changed from talking about Alex Eala's tactical or backhand growth to posing a far more awkward query. How could everyone have miscalculated the extent of her audience? That uncertainty was aptly expressed by one observation. The phrase quickly gained traction since it mirrored what many viewers were already thinking. Members of the tennis establishment openly questioned why such a match had been played on such a small court. The question was never whether Alex's ranking alone warranted notice. To fully comprehend that phenomenon, one must look outside tennis courts. A sizable Filipino community resides in Melbourne, where its members have lived thousands of miles away from their birthplace for decades. Without ever fully abandoning their identity, they brought their culture with them, established families overseas, and gradually made strange cities their homes. These communities recognized something very personal in Alex Eala's journey as soon as she entered the courtroom with the Philippine flag next to her name. This relationship was not the result of a costly marketing strategy.
Courts are going to work out for y'all in her game, right? But I'll tell you, it was a clean lead up to Wimbledon. I thought she did enough on grass to prove that she could definitely play on it, make some noise here a little bit. And with having that great support system, the confidence behind her, her ability to extend rallies and whatnot, I mean, you have to like her a lot within this early round matchup. I can't find anywhere where I could say, like, I don't know about Eala here. I like Eala's game a lot. I think she's having a very steady 2026. Now that she had that big splash like we saw last year where she made that Miami Open semifinal and beat Iga and pushed Pagul within that semifinal.
No commercial campaign urged Filipinos living abroad to form large cheering sections, and no celebrity endorsements encouraged people to purchase tickets. Because recognition has an amazing ability to spread without permission, everything unfolded organically. Friends started sharing highlights through group chats, one family invited another to watch a game, and communities that had been divided by oceans for years suddenly found themselves celebrating together after a young athlete reminded them that their stories still mattered on the biggest sporting stages in the world. Many people have the same silent desire to see someone representing their country compete effectively on the international scene, despite their disparate occupations and geographical regions. Even those who knew Alex Eala the best were taken aback by how quickly she became that person. As she won more and more, the support grew to resemble a global reunion. After long overnight shifts, nurses stayed up to watch late-night games. Viewing parties were crammed into small flats by students. When tournament schedules permitted, workers watched live streams during lunch breaks, and families modified dinner plans so that everyone could congregate around a television. Since then, both players have grown. Zarazua is now 28 years old, ranked world number 75 after climbing as high as number 51 last year. She owns 3 WTA 125 titles, has Grand Slam experience, and reached the second round of Wimbledon last year after a dominant opening round victory. She also battled through qualifying in Bad Homburg before falling to Wang Xinyu. Now, ironically, Eala and Zarazua also became after each victory. Social media was inundated with celebrations, but the enthusiasm never felt fake since it was based on real emotional investment rather than fake internet zeal. Alex has always been remarkably honest when discussing that connection. Instead of portraying herself as a single celebrity representing the entire country, she frequently highlighted the pride that Filipinos feel when one of their own Sukada's tournament organizers comprehends television ratings, sponsorship deals, and ticket demand, but Alex's popularity consistently surpassed all expectations. Everywhere she played, recurring themes appeared. Long before official matches began, practice courts suddenly filled up. Even though most athletes rarely received much attention during ordinary training sessions, fans dutifully waited for hours to watch them. Security guards and volunteers frequently found themselves in charge of much larger crowds than anyone had anticipated. Another remarkable example came at Indian Wells, where hundreds of fans lined up just to see Alex practice while sporting coordinated fan shirts. Friends with the girls that I actually know and that are on the tour, and we want to do fun things outside the court. So I think that's what it's about. I like that. Everyone can come to the lunch table. Yeah, everyone's welcome, not a clique. I feel like, Eva, the one thing that makes you maybe different is that when it comes to actually playing, like you barely lost games to Alex this year in those 2 matches. What makes you thrive in those situations against your best friends? Oh my gosh. I don't know. I actually played quite well both of the times that I played against her. I hear we're doing something at the Open. Similar incidents occurred in Dubai, when the tournament's organizers publicly recognized the extraordinary devotion displayed by Filipino spectators. Nearly comparable images were seen in Rome, complete with waving flags, packed stands, and a mood that turned routine practice sessions into festivities. At first, each tournament thought the thrill may be a singular occurrence, but each new location on the schedule yielded the same incredible result. Before demand exceeded available seating, several tournament directors eventually adjusted by placing Alex on larger courts. Until they personally seen the event, some continued to have doubts. Her performances had already been outstanding, since it takes both great talent and tremendous confidence under duress to defeat elite opponents in back-to-back matches. Her quick progress was not a passing fad, as evidenced by victories over two of the top players in the world. By competing fearlessly against seasoned champions, she had earned her spot among tennis's emerging stars. Subsequently, a second notification surfaced, discreetly providing the information that turned a fantastic week into a historic achievement. Half the draw is psyched out by the surface when you've won at Wimbledon 7 times and you're at ease on grass. They don't know how their game should be played, which results in odd bounces. Serena is fully aware of what needs to be done. The serve still had a fantastic appearance. When she is 60 years old, 44 now, she will serve in that manner. She still has terrific timing for the return. She will therefore enter the game and occasionally use a backhand slice, but her focus is on forward and first strike tennis. She will also be experiencing anxiety. The initial games will be really intense. Alex moved into the Wimbledon seeded group after a withdrawal higher in the rankings caused her to rise once more. Although the change only affected one ranking spot on paper, its historical significance went much beyond a mere number next to her name. A Filipino tennis player joined a Grand Slam tournament as a seeded competitor for the first time in the Open era. That accomplishment went much beyond just statistical acknowledgement. A seed is a sign of inclusion. It represents the sport's official recognition that a player has earned protection by continuously performing at a high level and should be spared from the tournament's most formidable opponents in the opening rounds. Through tenacity, perseverance, and unrelenting progress, Alex Eala had forever altered that chapter of tennis history after decades without a Filipino name showing up among Grand Slam seeds. Many of these supporters weren't affluent travelers planning impromptu trips. They were regular people making exceptional financial commitments because they felt that being present at this momentous occasion merited making all the necessary sacrifices. A nurse who frequently worked extra shifts thought the cost was justified. At the start of the year in Australia, Alex was defeated in the opening RO.